My phone rang at 5 a.m. in the morning, and the voice, as I picked the phone up, half asleep, the voice on the phone said, "Your son has been shot at Hampton University." So a year and a half after attempting to get through all of that, I had a knock on the door. I opened the door. There were 2 police officers standing at my door. And the officer said, "Are you Ms. Howerton?" And I said, "Yes." "Well, your son, Daryl, at A&T University, has been shot and killed by officers." The challenge that I have for you and others is there are a lot of mothers and fathers out here that are they're losing young people. They're losing people to gun violence. So the challenge is, what will you do? What will you do as a community? What will you do as an attorney, that when a mother or a father asks you to look into the case, are you willing to stand up and do something about it? Or are you saying, "Oh, this was a police shooting, we can't touch it"? There are good officers, but that 10% out there, are we willing to turn our heads and say, "There's nothing we can do about it"?
We're still going to see these challenges as long as that trust has eroded. So I hope today you come up with ideas that can help us bridge that.
So I would like to see some new legislation as well in the state and federal court to make it easier to prosecute police officers when they do things that are outlined. But let's take it step by step and work with the police departments to create more transparency, and then we can work on changing the law as well.
Thank you so much.
So the problem is, as myself as a victim of domestic violence, we wanted to make an application where victims could they could go into the applications on their phone, which would be disguised as just another random app on your telephone, where they could go and make reports of current domestic violence in their home, or if they're currently in a situation where they're being attacked, where they could just hit a button and it would automatically send information to 911 to respond to that.
So we have a problem in society now where we have a lot of distrust between the community and the police, and the police have a problem with the lack of community engagement when they do have programs that are in the community. So we want to find a way to encompass both problems together at once.
So the solution for this problem is bridging the gap between the police and the community. It is a website that we have created to provide tools and resources for both the police and the community to come together and just interact with each other.
We are representing our app iTrust, which is designed to harmonize the police relations with the community and the police, basically by creating an app that destigmatizes the traffic stop process and makes citizens feel more comfortable while also increasing police accountability.
People act differently when they're observed. Up until now, only law enforcement has had access to the body cam video. Our app will allow simultaneously possession of that body cam video to the individual that's being stopped.
Our Streets is our app to address the problem between lack of information and community between law enforcement and our community. One of the things we wanted to get more information about was legal, safety, and other community matters. We wanted an application that would have law enforcement and community so you could interact, taking the ideas of community policing and community prosecutor to the streets. We also wanted a way where the community members could disseminate information with themselves.
So, what problem are we trying to solve? We're trying to build trust, transparency, and accountability within our community. Why do we care? Well, if a citizen witnesses a crime in his community, often he, she, child, adult, whoever is afraid to report it due to the repercussions from other people within that community. On that same different side of the coin, police are often afraid to report misconduct from other police because of what's called, the blue conduct or staying within your own in that tight-knit community.
All right, so what we're going to do, Levi, this little guy, is the law enforcement virtual intelligence, right? you've heard of things like Watson and all that. You've seen the commercials and all that. But so what we're going to do is outfit your vehicles, integrate and synergize all those devices that you currently use, right, already. And it's used in Europe already. You got video for speeding violations, all that. So we're going to bring all those together with the artificial intelligence platform that is learning, expert systems. They're learning all the time. Okay.
Our app is to deal with something that currently there's no app or any way to deal with it, which is to help police officers understand and do a better job of interacting with the community. Right now, everything that's currently being done is in response to events that have already occurred. Every time that there's an adverse interaction with law enforcement or a hiring decision is made, everything is happening. Every decision made subsequent to then is after the incident has already occurred. But with Signal Watch, what you can do is now have a proactive app which will use reliable and high quality biosignals to customize training of police applicants and employees, and to assess it as it relates to identifying and eliminating racial bias in job performance to better prepare officers for community interaction and decrease adverse and daily interaction with civilians.
Today has been very unique in a sense. You get to see community members and members of law enforcement working together to solve common problems, working on situations that could impact society and law enforcement as well.
I came in today to play the role as a mediator in the rooms as they developed their ideas, innovation, tech pieces for the solution, and trying to create effective communications to protect the public in their interactions with police officers and individuals. And so I assisted in facilitating that conversation forward in the development of the application, in addressing things that may or may not work, in addressing concerns that may be concerns of individuals or police officers, and how to incorporate technology into that space, but also how to communicate and pitch that in a way where someone who may not be tech savvy would understand the idea that they were pitching today.
I really didn't know what to think. And then I got in the room and heard some of the conversation, and some of it sounds way off from my way of thinking. And then after you listen to some of the things, it makes you think, put yourself in the other people's shoes. So it's eye-opening.
I think the most inspiring part of the day was seeing everybody line up to tell their stories. To have a mother who had lost 2 sons to gun violence stand before this audience and make the case for why we have to bring unity in our community. And she told that story, and I don't know how she made it through it, but I think that set the tone for the rest of the day, and people understood why this work was important. And they didn't, from that point forward, they didn't veer from that mission of engagement, collaboration, the conversations, the energy. I think it just took off from there.
And our 3rd place winner is I Trust. Come on up, team. And the 2nd place winner, Are You In? Just huddle up. All right. Ooh, wow. All right, drum roll. 1st place. Winning app for today, Cuttlefish. 1st place. Come on up, Team Cuttlefish.
We hope that you continue to follow us on social media, ABA JusticeHack on Twitter and Instagram, post pictures, and keep the conversation going. Ultimately, what happened here today is supposed to be a catalyst to continue conversations, continued engagement and interaction with people who you may not interact with every day. And congrats to everybody who won. We're adjourned.